So the final of the Singapore Sevens has been confirmed. It will be Fiji versus France, the two sides that remain undefeated throughout the rest of the competition, and now they face off in the final in what should be an exciting matchup. But in this video, we'll be looking through at the group stage fixtures for these two sides, their key players to watch out for, and then also a prediction at the end for who I think will win this contest. But jumping straight into it, the group stage for Fiji was a successful one. They won all three of their games, two of which were relatively close, the other pretty one-sided in favour of Fiji. But their first match was up against Great Britain. That game was won 22 points to 19, so a relatively close one to start off the competition. And it was in that game that Vuiviwa Nadovalo got himself the 3 tries. In the second match, it was up against Spain, winning that one 28 points to 7, so that was the one-sided affair from their group stage fixtures. And then a golden point game up against South Africa, 24 points to 19 in favour of Fiji. Now, a lot of people expected that to be a rematch in the final of this competition. Wasn't quite the case though, as the French were able to beat the Blitzboks in the semi-final. Fiji managed to get themselves the 7-point win over New Zealand, 21 points to 14, which means from their first 4 games, 3 of which been separated by the 7 or less. For the French, they started off with a 7-point victory over New Zealand, 19 points to 12. Their second game was pretty one-sided up against Australia, 31 points to 7. They had a close game with Argentina as their third group stage fixture, 19 points to 15. And then their most recent game in the semi-final, it was up against South Africa, a team that they really starved of possession in the early stages of the match. They made the most of it, got a couple early tries, and held on for the rest of the game. But now brings us on to this matchup. Like I said, both of these teams, they are undefeated, and they've actually had a very similar path to get to this stage. Now, Fiji have had a few very handy players throughout this competition. Vuiviwa Nadovalo, he started day 1 with a hat-trick. He started day 2 in that semi-final with the 2 tries, and he's currently the leading try scorer on the men's 7 series. So definitely expect to see him with a bit of ball in hand when it comes to this final. Also, Josefa Talatholo, he was the other man to score himself a try in that semi-final up against the Kiwis. He's got very dangerous ball running, a great offloading game, and also that power to match, which makes him a real handful for Les Bleus in this matchup too. And then if I had to pick a third player for the Fijians, I would definitely go with Taria Vailawa. His stepping and his ability to find gaps in the opposition defence makes him one of the most dangerous players on this whole circuit, and he would love nothing more than to make it back-to-back wins in Singapore for this flying Fijian team. For the French, they have got a few handy players of their own. One in particular is their captain, Pauline Riva. He had a tremendous game up against the Blitzboks in the semi-final. Something that was thoroughly impressive wasn't just the fact that he scored a try, but also his work in the breakdown, getting crucial steals, which up against a side like Fiji, who like to dominate the possession game, if France can get a couple crucial steals, that can sway the momentum just that little bit in their direction. Also, another player to keep an eye out, I believe, is Jordan Sefo. Matches well with Josefa Talatholo and a couple of the other big Fijian forward options, but he just has that ability of changing a game for this French side. Another player who falls into that same category is actually Steven Perez-Martin. A huge concern from that semi-final, looked like some sort of shoulder injury. So if he is unavailable, that's a huge hit to this French team if they don't have their main halfback for this very important final. But still plenty of other players who can step up for the French, such as an Andy Timo, who was heavily involved up against South Africa as well. But now we're up to that stage of a prediction for this contest. For me, I think it's going to be close. I also have a feeling like it could be pretty low scoring. Now, France are very good in the first half. They dominated possession up against the South Africans. Fiji up against New Zealand, well, they hardly touched the ball throughout the first 5 minutes, but it was what they did in the second 7 minutes that made all the difference. So I think France will lead at halftime, but Fiji will then make that comeback and potentially win this game somewhere around 14 points to 12. I can see it being low scoring. Now, of course, Sevens is unpredictable, and it could end up being extremely high scoring between these two sides, but I do feel they're both strong enough in defence to make this a low scoring, close type of fixture. But it is kicking off at 12:41 a.m. New Zealand time as well as Fijian time. We are going to be doing the commentary on the channel, so be sure to check that out. But I thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all for the next one.